Cracking moves, Georgie. Environment and Energy Minister Josh Frydenberg is here to help. Josh, nice to have you back on the show. So let's get to it. Will you be adopting the Finkel Report's recommendations?
Well, we got it today, Waleed. It's a more than 200-page document. It's very comprehensive, very complex, and obviously we'll consider it in detail and give it the consideration it deserves. We've also got our internal processes, be it Cabinet and the party room, and as you know, lots of people have their own views on these issues, so we need an opportunity to talk it through, and then obviously we'll respond in due course.
Is that your way of saying you're waiting for Tony Abbott to give you permission?
Not at all. Look, Tony Abbott is one member of the party room, and of course a former Prime Minister. But what everybody understands is that the energy system is changing dramatically, and we need a certain stable regulatory environment to encourage more investment, be it in renewables, be it in gas or other forms of low emission technology.
So, Minister, one thing I was a little bit confused about is that current coal generators would have to give 3 years' notice before shutting down. So presumably that's good news in that we don't want another Hazelwood-style situation. But how would that actually work?
Well, we have a thing called the National Electricity Market Rules, and each of these coal-fired power stations, or indeed gas or solar and wind farms, they all have a licence to operate. So as part of that licence to operate, there would be a requirement that they couldn't close without giving 3 years' notice. And this is all about being able to plan for the future, be it on the supply side or the demand side. And if we can do that better, we'll have a more stable system and lower electricity prices.
I tell you what's exciting. Malcolm Turnbull stressed the need to take the politics out of energy policy. It's about time. And I mean, all of that started though in 2009 when he was rolled by Tony Abbott over his support of Labor's ETS. So is the coalition willing to admit now that you got it wrong?
Look, I don't think that's our fault at all. I think there's been differing views and some bad schemes have been put up by the other side. But the point is, the industry, whether they are the users of power or the generators of power, they just want stability, and they need certainty because they're making 30 to 40-year investments. And the public will be better served by a bipartisan approach, by a technology-neutral approach, and one that it focuses on lower prices, a more stable system, and meeting our Paris commitments.
I don't think we can forget, though, that the coalition has fought renewable energy tooth and nail over the last decade. So are you willing to admit at least that that has changed, that perspective has changed within the government?
Well, we strongly support renewables, and there's been a five-fold increase last year compared to 2015, and now, believe it or not, Australia is one of the most attractive places in the world to invest. Now, we need to keep that momentum going, but one thing that Dr. Finkel said today, which is really important, is that the renewable sector will need to provide more storage, whether it's batteries or other form of backup, because that's important, because the wind doesn't blow all the time, the sun doesn't shine, but power is required. So we do need more storage.
Minister, thanks for your Finkel.
See ya.